Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. They say that music heals. It can be therapeutic. It can help people recover. They're putting that into action at an organization called Baltic Street Into Action, located in the greater New York City area. It's helping so many people, veterans, people with mental challenges, people who have been incarcerated. Today, we're going to look at that and through the eyes from peer to peer. He will explain further. He is the man behind it. He's the president. And by the way, it is a not-for-profit organization. Peter Jampel joins us here on the program. Peter, welcome back. How are you?
Steve, as always, good to be with you.
You too. Yeah, we have, interest. I believe there's no coincidences. We have synchronicity in the very least in terms of our appreciation of music and realizing what it can do to help people. And you've literally put that into action in the organization over many years. When we talk about peer-to-peer, how do you define that?
Well, the way I would define that, Steve, is the power of shared experience, that people who have gone through and lived through mental health challenges in their lives are a rich source of wisdom and practical knowledge that not only benefits the younger person who's just going through these difficulties, but it's meaningful to the person to share their experiences, to help others, to be able to lift out of all of the difficulties that they've gone through, to lift out of that lessons and experiences that can help others, because we help ourselves by helping others. It gives us a sense of meaning and purpose and of looking forward as we look back. And particularly through music and the arts, we have a chance to share our love and understanding of the power of music as a source of inspiration and hope for developing a sense of meaning and purpose. So, as we talked about last week, Steve, with mentoring of people who are and have moved through incarceration, mentoring musically is a powerful experience, both to the mentor and to the mentee. It creates a strong bond that creates a sense of purpose and meaning for both people. Now, what I'd like to talk about today is a program that Baltic Street Into Action has developed and supported, which is called Peer Arts Training. And a little background about this. So in my own experience, I moved through different stages as a music therapist of seeing the people I work with, as from clients to fellow musicians to performers, and then to seeing the power of music in their lives as they develop greater confidence and skill as musicians, and that relationship evolved over time in a way that was no longer clearly defined by previous titles and roles. It went into new ground. People in music sharing their experiences with each other. Over the years, in the mental health field, people with lived experience of mental illness have become a vital part of the process of recovery. They are seen increasingly as people who have not only unique experiences to share, but who demonstrate that there is recovery possible, that it's not just treatment of symptoms and then stabilization, but that there is an opportunity to use that experience as a platform for creating a career for themselves. And that increasingly peers are being trained and hired. And in New York City, the Health and Hospitals Corporation has hired over 70 peers to work in various facilities throughout the New York area of certified peer counselors.
Wow.
Baltic Street into Action has gone a step further. We believe that peer counselors are extremely valuable as members of the health and hospital treatment services, but the arts and music create an additional area of specialization that can enhance their capacity to increase their own skill level, their employability, and the value that music and the arts has as an area of specialization in working with other peers. Now, this has actually been going on for many years, that peer-to-peer arts activities are part of what are called psychosocial clubs, which are run by the New York City Department of Health and Hospitals Corporation, and that those services have been going on. But we believe, and when I say we, I'm not only talking about Baltic Street into Action, but creative arts therapists believe that enhanced training in music and the arts can make those services even more effective and help to focus more specifically on an increased range of services that creative arts therapists can provide. So what I'd like to talk about today is the history of Baltic Street into Action's peer arts training, how it's worked, and then I'm going to talk about a person that I worked with who I think exemplifies a lot of the issues of what it means to an individual who's gone through a life of suffering, really, and now has a chance he was a wonderful singer, a great R&B artist, and what it meant to him to be able to share his music with other people and to feel the lift he got from being able to experience the joy he was able to bring into other people's lives.
Couple of questions, and this is wonderful. Even before we get to his
Yeah.
story, do you feel that many of us don't realize the benefit that it has on us to help others? Not that we should do it for that reason, but do you feel that we don't know until we know?
Until you experience being able to use your music as a way of sharing joy and knowledge and connection, it's important. It's like becoming a life coach in music in a way, where you've accumulated all this knowledge of music and technical skill, and you want to bring it to others, because as you get to that point in your life where it's important to pass it on and to have a sense that you're contributing to the well-being of others, because that's in a way a great gift to oneself. That generativity and that moving of one's life in a way into the future through the younger generations of people. It's important for all of us to feel that,
Sure.
and particularly for people who have experienced serious mental health issues, to rediscover a sense of being valued, of being seen as someone who has a lot to offer. Again, that's achievement. That achievement brings out a sense of pride and of experiencing being needed.
Mm. It's powerful. And I want to say more than ever now, or like it was back in the day, not to sound old, but live music it's come back. Maybe it was COVID. We were locked up and couldn't get out and couldn't do anything. And now, I see local bands, tribute bands, even those doing originals, and people flocking to just want to be there. And I truly believe it is the exchange of energy. It's like we are energy transmitters. And when somebody performs, they're sending out energy. And then we receive that energy in such a way that it is the music, yes, but music is energy. What is energy? Vibration. How do you make music? You vibrate. How do you sing? This vibrates. It's all a vibration. I don't believe we all know this. We all don't talk about it. We just say, yeah, I love music. But the deep effects of it, as you're describing, tell us the story about this R&B singer.
Okay. So I'm going to give him a pseudonym just to protect his
Sure.
identity. I'll call him Sam. And Sam was 63 years old when I worked with him. African-American man who had multiple challenges. Not only did he have a serious mental health diagnosis, but he had serious drug problems, and some history of incarceration, history of hospitalizations as well. And yet he never gave up, this guy. He was unbelievably forward-thinking in a lot of ways, even though he was often beset by real living problems, working problems. He had a long history of working as a boiler mechanic. And despite all of this, worked for 20 years as a boiler mechanic repair person. So here's a guy who had a lot of strengths. And one of his strengths was this beautiful singing voice. He could sing any R&B song, and he had incredible expressive abilities, as well as a very supple and powerful voice. So Sam was recruited for the peer arts training program that Baltic Street into Action ran. And he had so many life problems, it was really hard for him to focus. But Sam persevered, kept going, and showed up week after week and learned the music recording process, which was part of the training procedure. But he also shared a lot of himself in the program. And I did an interview with him at the midway point of the program, after he really understood what we were doing. And Sam, I asked him, and I've written down his responses here. I said, so what does music do for you? And his response was, what it does for me is give me a sense of peace, a sense of joy. I learn a lot in music, and I express a lot of feelings. I go right into appreciating your abilities. I'll get enjoyment out of that. I'll just enjoy what you are able to do. And then I asked him, so what will you get out of bringing music into the lives of other people in their recovery? And he said, what I'll get out of it is helping me in my struggles. Music helps me in dealing with what I go through. It gives me moments of serenity and it gives me moments of clarity. Because everybody goes through something. A song is a life lesson. It can be enlightening, encouraging. It can enlighten you, or if you listen to it, it says something about what you're going through. Songs give me a chance to give somebody else what it gives to me.
It's almost like passing on the baton.
Very much like passing on the baton.
Wow.
And, I think his comments about both receiving through and give by giving is really what it boils down to in terms of how the making of music and the mentoring of others in music is a chance to both get and give at the same time. And that's really what the peer arts training movement is all about. After we did this program, we ran it for a year, we were looking for a permanent house to pick it up. And after we went through COVID and a lot of the places that we were exploring were having very serious restrictions in terms of in-person training facilities. They were mostly closed down. But finally, in 2023, we negotiated with a peer training program called Howie the Harp, which is a division of a not-for-profit called Community Access. And Howie the Harp was a real person who was a peer, who was a street musician himself, and whose joy in music was a legend on the street. And his name was brought as the title of the training program there. And we negotiated with them to start a elective course in the arts, in mental health. And I worked with their director, Laura Reimer, and their activities coordinator, Tony Wright, to develop a 15-week course that included not only music, art, dance movement, drama, poetry, but also filmmaking, photography. And we brought to their faculty a number of the members of our board of directors who were all experienced trainers, some professional, certified music, art, dance, and drama therapists, but also peers who were also highly skilled and trained and were excellent workshop leaders. And this 15-week training course was highly received. We did a program evaluation of it, and the people who took it found new joy and new meaning, reawakened sense of their own creativity. A number of artists, musicians, dancers who in their own recovery process. And here we're talking about the student membership were all people with lived experience in serious mental health issues. And so we, again, reawakened a sense of meaning and purpose in their lives. The course was well received. It was then offered a second time at Howie the Harp, and again, highly received, with even a greater program evaluation rating than the first course offering. And so one of the things that we're hopeful for is first to introduce a area of specialization for peers who can then broaden and deepen their appreciation and understanding of how the arts can work for recovery. Secondly, it is our hope that at some point, this elective course will be upgraded into a special certification, which is involved a process with the New York State Peer Academy having to approve courses and to buy into the belief that peers art training can become an area of specialization, which is something that Baltic Street into Action supports and believes. But it's happening now. The seed has been planted. We have trained now some 30 people at Howie the Harp. The staff there is in the process of discussing where to go with this. And we're also trying to encourage the New York City Peer Academy, which is run by the Health and Hospitals Corporation, to integrate peer arts training as part of what they offer as well. So as in all things, things don't happen right away, but it is our belief that through exposure to music and the arts, we've started something. And hopefully, as people listen to this podcast, will come to appreciate that, again, the role of music goes beyond just a form of entertainment, but is a very meaningful way of empowering an individual to rediscover a sense of purpose, meaning, and focus in their lives, to at least understand that creativity is a necessary ingredient for all of our happiness and well-being.
Well, you just punctuated that in sharing what you did and also Sam's story. It's a no-brainer. We have different types of therapy, talk therapy, psychological therapy, all of that, and medication. And there's a place for these things. But when you look at the history of humans, music goes back to the very beginning for a reason. And Sam's words illustrate it so well. For those that think that somebody just wants to perform because I want to get up there and I want to sing and I want to play guitar. No, not necessarily. They want to give back because it makes them feel good, but they want to give to others. Just phenomenal. Peter, how do we learn more about Baltic Street?
So our website, balticstreetintooaction.com, is online. We encourage you to visit our website, learn more about us. As I've said, we're a 501c3, and we are a tax-deductible not-for-profit. We're putting these podcasts up on our website, and we encourage you to come and visit and learn more about it.
Thank you for sharing everything today. I feel like I know Sam. I feel like he was speaking to us through you, not just words. I think it's the energy, felt his energy, which is what he sends when he sings and performs. Thanks, Peter, for being here today. Looking forward next time we learn more about Baltic Street.
Good. Take care, Steve.
You too. Appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.